Good afternoon, Houston. This is attorney Anthony Push from the Push & Win Law Firm, wishing you all a safe drive home. But in the event you do get involved in an accident, you know who to call. 833-PUSH-WIN. We push, you win.
104.1 KRBE, a Cumulus media station.
Good morning, everyone.
We ready?
Live from the TXU Energy Studio.
The Roula and Ryan Show with producer Eric, Special K, and Sam.
Okay, Father's Day is this weekend. Y'all, I had a revelation. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to dress like my dad did.
What's that Geico commercial? Isn't there a Geico commercial about don't trend your parents? Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, it's
Don't do
progressive.
that.
Is it progressive?
Progressive, yeah.
No, you don't need to look at them.
When you buy a house,
just keep walking. You don't need to look at them.
you don't need to help them in the store like they're at the Home Depot store. Something Kim's gonna be doing in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Son, I'll tell you.
mean next
But
week?
everybody reaches that point where you're like, oh my God, I've become my parents.
When did you know you've become your father? We're focusing on dads because it is Father's Day weekend this weekend. Don't forget the dad in your life that you love so much. Now, Lizzie is going to start this off with, from what I understand, a life lesson.
Oh.
Hi, Lizzie. Good morning.
Hey, how
Hi.
are you?
Great.
Wonderful.
Lizzie, what is the story regarding your dad and how you saw yourself following in his footsteps?
So it's kind of like a little bit of a bummer, but it gets perky at the end.
Okay. It's
My
perky.
dad had issues with alcoholism his whole life,
Okay.
and he ended up passing away due to it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
About 5 years ago, I was having the same issues, and I was like, I could see myself going down my dad's path, and I was like, all right, I've got a choice. I can either keep drowning myself in this crap, or I can actually get therapy, work on myself, and build myself up. I am the spitting image of my dad physically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you put a male filter on me, I look just like my daddy.
Wow.
So, not being able to touch alcohol, going, no, I'm good whenever I go out, being the DD, I don't care. It's something that I can see my dad being proud of me on that lesson that I learned from him.
Aw. So you were like your
sweet.
dad in his worst way. His vice was alcohol, which ultimately ended him, and you had that reality check of, wow, don't want to go out like that.
You broke the pattern. You
Yeah,
broke the cycle.
And I mean, I went into a bar a few years back with my mom, and all of his friends were there. They started crying, going, you look just like Ronnie. And that was that moment.
Really?
Oh, that was
I
it?
cannot be that person here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to make him proud.
How long ago
you
was
are
that,
making
Lizzie?
him proud.
How long ago was that they lost your dad and you had that revelation to stop drinking?
I lost him when I was 16, and then when I was 25, I looked in the mirror, and at that bar, I went to the bathroom, I looked in the mirror, and I saw him, and I was like, I got to do something that he should have done and would have done if he had had that support.
Well, see, you absolutely made him proud because it's every parent's dream and wish that their kids are not going to follow in their footsteps. I mean, as far as the mistakes that we've made, we don't want our kids to make those mistakes.
No. And it's
you
so
gotta-
easy
the
for somebody
courage.
to say, this is my life. Like
My
I always think of-
destiny, yeah.
Like Forrest Gump, I always think of Lieutenant Dan. He
Yeah.
thought it was his destiny to eat.
I was supposed to die on that battlefield.
Yeah, it's like, no, you don't have to. Like, I used to think that way, too. Like, I'm going to die when I'm 43 because my parents all died young. Cancer, it's just it's life. But no.
This doesn't have to be that way.
It's not going to happen to me.
Yeah, she took charge.
Lizzie, I'm glad to hear
really
that
great.
you're sober and well, and you learned that lesson the hard way from your dad's loss. But, maybe you helped somebody out today. Maybe they themselves are going to look in the mirror today and say, I don't have to do this anymore.
Today's the day.
Yeah, today's the day. Lizzie, thank you for listening to the show. Megan's up next at 713-390-KRBE. How have you turned into your dad? You realize, oh, man, I've become my dad. Hi, Megan. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. What was that moment for you?
There's actually been several. Can you hear me? I have a bad signal right now.
We hear you fine. You're crystal
fine.
clear.
Okay, so actually, fortunately, I had a pretty wonderful stepdad, and he was also a high school teacher, so I not only heard it at home, but later in high school as well. But I've actually told several people, they're smarter than they look.
You're smarter than you look.
Oh, man.
It's kind of insulting.
Yeah.
It's a backhanded compliment, is it not? Going back to
Right.
620
Yeah,
this morning.
He had a lot of funny little one-liners,
Uh-huh.
so it was pretty funny. So yeah.
That's good. You're smarter than
you picked up his insults.
You're saying his same thing.
Right.
That's funny. You're like, I don't know.
You're carrying the insult tradition.
Because so many times if your parents say something that drives you crazy, you're like, oh my God, stop saying that. And then you find yourself saying, you're like, oh God, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because there's some, you know those little wood boards you see, Sam, at places like Buc-ee's or Hobby Lobby, you know, the little wood boards you can put them on your shelf or put them on the wall. There's something about the moms. Something about like, you know, I didn't realize until I realized that I was turning into my mom. You hear that more about what your mom is saying to you versus what your dad says to you, but we've all learned something from our dads or the dad representative in our lives. Not everybody has their biological father. 40% of men said they started napping in front of the TV like their dads. 28% of men say they have a special chair.
Oh, yeah.
Like their dad.
Kids know what.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
special chair.
that's my chair.
My dad's chair was so like, because we had like those things where you put encyclopedias in. It was like a big shelf or giant cases, but he'd put his foot up on it and then push the chair back, so the chair kind of had if you sat in it, it kind of leaned that way. Like, no one else could sit there.
There's a survey, guys. It says the most men specifically believe they will turn into their dads around the age of 38. Around the age of 38 is where they're turning into their dads. 25% of men in the survey admit to dancing badly at parties and family gatherings.
See, I won't do that.
I say cheers to you for dancing.
Yeah.
You should dance and
Well,
enjoy the moment.
yeah,
If you can't do it right, don't do it at all. That's my motto. I won't.
But then you won't do anything in life.
Then you give those kids
I'm just
something
saying,
to talk about when they're
I
older.
would make an embarrassment on the dance floor. I'm horrible, so I can't do it. I won't do it.
You gotta just feel the beat, man.
Yeah, just get into it.
Shake your hips.
But I do
Feel the
understand.
beat.
You know, I think age has a lot to do with it. You know, it's like you stop. It's not that you. Well, you do kind of stop caring about a few things. Like I said, like with the clothing and everything, it's like I will still dress up to go out or go to a nice dinner or anything. But I'm around the house. I used to bust my dad's chops. I'm like, good God, Dad, all you wear is like shorts, loafers, and a T-shirt. And I found myself wearing that on the weekend now because it's just easy to slip into.
Well, I've turned into my father in the way that I go to the History Channel. Oh my God, my dad. The History, que the Discovery. He loved those two channels. And then towards the last years of my dad passed away at 79 years of age. And I remember every time I'd walk into the family restaurant, he either had the AMC channel on or he had Travel Channel. And when I would tell Dad, like, Dad, don't you want to go see that sometimes? Like, you know, you and Mom. He's like, why I need to go on the airplane? It's right here on the TV.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, he's like, look, it's in my TV. It's
free.
I was like the best. He could just go around the world on the Travel Channel. So yes, I watch the History Network. And yes, you guys have teased me for that because I watch The Men Who Built America. And yesterday it was a story, the food that built America, about how Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks got into the food wars and they were coffee shops.
Those are fun to watch, those.
Yeah, you
find
can't
it so
always be
interesting.
watching high octane action 24/7. Sometimes it's fun to cleanse the palate with a nice historical show or a reality show. Or
You're talking about outfits yesterday. When I was leaving, I was in my gym clothes, I guess, because the doorman guy goes, "Oh, going to the gym?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm going to go get a pizza." I came in to pizza.
Athletic wear has become anything but that.
He's like, "Oh, go to the gym?" Nope, I'm doing the opposite.
It's comfort.
Mike is
myself
up
go.
next, and I don't know if we have the audio to accompany this because I think we all know the audio I'm talking about once you hear Mike's story of how did you become your father. Hi, Mike. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, y'all. How you doing?
Hey, Mike.
You're good. So, can I ask you real quick your age? How old are you, Mike?
Right now, I'm 53.
Okay, so it says in this study that you start becoming your father at age 38. So the story you have to share with us, did it happen before you were 40 or just now?
Well, my dad was older when I was born. He was 37
Got it.
when I
Okay.
was born.
Okay.
And so when at about the age of when I turned 45, I felt like I started sounding like my dad every time I was straining to do something, trying to like pull a part out of a car or something. Just start groaning.
Oh, you're making dad noises. Okay.
Yeah, I'm making all those dad noises when I get up. And I started thinking about it, and it's like, why at that age did I start thinking that? And I'm thinking maybe that was when I was 7 or 8, I started becoming aware of the noises he was making. And so I sounded like my dad at that age.
So it's kind of like a muscle memory thing.
The grunting noise.
Exactly.
Dad noises.
Or lack of muscle, because he wasn't very strong, and I've got the same muscle build as him, so.
It is true, though. I think we've all been there where it's like, where you groan to sit up out of the couch. You're like, oh.
Or wasn't there a Family Guy famous scene with Peter Griffin?
Where he
He hurts
falls.
himself. He just makes all the noises.
He's like,
Yeah. Now it's just time to do dad noises.
And
Dad noises. That's what I call them.
the dad noises.
I feel like my dad always makes dad noises.
Yeah. Because really, if our moms did it, we'd be like, "Are you okay, Mom? Should we go
Yes.
to the doctor?"
My mom does a sigh. Like
Oh,
my
she does.
mom. Oh my god.
Like how? Like
I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? Nothing. I'm just breathing, Samantha. I'm like, oh my gosh, and then
Or
I'll
she
start
tested
sighing.
you for like
yeah.
attention. Like,
No, I don't
what's
think
wrong?
so.
Like
I don't
something's
think
wrong.
so.
What's wrong, Mom?
I don't think so.
You
But I'm
think
such a
she's
daddy's
displeased.
girl. I got off the phone with my dad the other day, and for some reason, you guys know me, I'm not like emotional, but when I got off the phone with him, I got like choked up. Like my throat felt like I was like almost gonna cry. It's just like I just missed him so much, but
in
I
all
couldn't tell him.
fairness-
No,
In all fairness, though, you
I didn't
almost
wanna
lost
let
your
him.
dad last
why
year.
couldn't you
know.
tell him though?
Wait,
Because
hold on. I
just
missed that
didn't
part where you
wanna tell
said you missed your dad so much you couldn't tell him. Is what you said?
Yes, because I started crying when I said bye to him on the phone.
Oh,
Like, I
But you
know.
didn't tell him, "Hey, I miss you a lot, Dad."
No, I don't want him to know that.
There's nothing wrong with you picking the phone back up
That
and
is
saying, you know something,
weakling.
I really miss you, Dad.
I'm not a weakling.
Because he would love to hear that.
I watched the
He's
finale of Ted Lasso again just so I could have a good cry.
Really?
Yeah. Is that how
Is
you're
that
going to
sad or
watch
what?
Yes.
for Father's Day?
It's an hour and 18 minutes, and I fast forward some parts.
Just so you could cry?
Just get to that end
You
when
just
they do
wanted
that
to
Cat
feel.
Stevens song. What is that? Father-son song it's called.
I don't know.
If you heard it, it was in Guardians of the Galaxy episode or number 2. If you hear it, it's like really
Okay.
emotional. Well, if you hear it, I think you'd get emotional too.
I would.
But a father.
And thanks to the Hobby Lobby lady who texted what that word phrasing was on that wood board.
Oh, did she find it?
Sometimes when I speak, my mother comes out.
That's right next to It's Wine O'Clock.
It's
Now,
true.
that first color we had on was almost like a Look at
Lizzie.
Me Now.
Yeah, it really
Yep.
was.
We're going to bring that back.
Look at me now. Look at me now is where you call us at 713-390-KRBE and tell us a story where you were told you can't, you won't, there's no way you should try that. That sounds crazy. You're not good enough, worthy, blah, blah,
You've
blah.
overcome that
And
nonsense.
You did it. You did it. Look at you now.
I want to be inspired on a Monday. I need it.
Yeah. Where's our Ted Lasso moment?
Yeah, I want
All right,
that.
the number is
713-390 KRBE. We're talking to you next on the Roula and Ryan Show.
You are getting sleepy. Your CPAP mask is clamped tightly to your face. You will not toss and turn through the whooshing. You will not throw the mask.
It's not working, Harold.
People who struggle with CPAP have partners who struggle too. Luckily, now there's Inspire. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
When I snap my fingers, you will remember to visit inspiresleep.com.
Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Look at you now. Or maybe you overcame an obstacle that should have limited you in what you could accomplish, but you proved everybody wrong.
Look at me now. That is where you call us at 713-390-KRBE and you tell us an inspirational story about, you were set up for failure and you overcame it.
We love those kind of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start with Amber at 713-390-KRBE. Good morning, Amber.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Ooh, okay, tell us your story, Amber.
So I lived in Deep East Texas all of my life, and when I turned 16, I had this really bad accident. I had a knee injury, and the doctor prescribed some narcotics, and that kind of started my whole addiction process. But I was actually raised around nothing but addicts, really. My grandmother, bless her heart, was the only one that was like my rock in all of it. But, my parents, cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone was involved in some pretty bad habits. And I picked up on everything they did, everything that they knew how to make. I learned how to make. It was that kind of bad. And I'm here to tell you now that as of April of last year, I came and moved to Houston, uprooted myself from that environment. I came to a treatment facility down in Dickinson, and I have been clean and sober ever since.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's great.
Living in Houston. And, to be honest, even the drug dealer said I was never going to make it. I was the worst of all of his people that got drugs from him. He was like, you're never going to make it a day in rehab.
you're never going to even survive your addiction. It was that kind of bad.
Wow.
And here we are today. I'm running a nonprofit that helps other addicts get out of addiction and into recovery, and I'm working with children with autism every day as a registered behavior technician.
I'm really happy to hear that. So many people think that, drug addiction is just somebody that's doing something shady in an alley or somewhere. It's prescription drugs. People get injured, they get hurt, and it's so difficult.
Were you able to help any of your family
painkillers.
members? Since you said a lot of your family members are going through this, were you able to take what you've learned and help them, or they want help?
The ones that I have had a couple reach out for help, but this disease doesn't care. The ambivalence sets in. It's like they'll tell you that, hey, I'm ready. Please come help me, pick me up. And within the next hour, they are back at their dealer's house trying to do something different because it was too much.
It knows no boundaries. It doesn't matter. You can be rich, poor. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. It doesn't mean nothing. I mean, it affects everybody.
Amber,
and I'm so happy for you.
kind of along the lines of what Eric asked you. If you were raised in a drug-fueled environment and everybody around you was addicted to something and you were able to pull yourself out by coming here, do you still keep in contact with them if they are still in the environment and you don't want to even risk?
You just have to stay away.
Yeah, you don't want to risk.
I completely stay away. The ones that are clean and sober, and I can tell you too, my stepdad, he was also another rock. I left him out, but let me tell you though, my stepdad, I still stay in contact with him to this day. He is an amazing person. My grandmother, I contact her, but for the most part, no. Sadly, no. They understand that I'm here to live a self-directed life, and to live a better life than I was living down there. So they all love and support me, but no, I had to cut ties with everyone, block everyone in my phone that is a part of that life.
You can't have that around you.
Well,
congratulations.
I'm glad that you're clean and sober and thriving, Amber. God bless you. Thanks for calling in with your story.
Thank you.
Continued
Thank you so
success
much.
to you. You're welcome.
Good luck.
Can I please tell everyone also really quick, if anyone else out there is struggling with addiction and you just don't know where to start, please visit my website, withintegration.org.
Wait, slow down. What was that?
Landing page.
What was?
It's with integration, like the word with and integration crammed together, .org.
With
Withintegration.org. Withintegration.org. Okay. So that's like a starting point of how you want to get clean.
Me.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Love that.
Amber, thank you so much. Keep in touch, okay?
Thank you all. Yes,
honey.
thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're doing Look at Me Now here on the Roula and Ryan Show. It's where you tell us a story about not being able to come out of something, and then in the end, you succeed.
When your drug dealer is saying that stuff to you.
And your drug dealer's like, yeah, you're never going
Well, he doesn't have your best interests at heart, that's for sure.
your money. Gabriella is up next, and it does also have to do, I understand, with drugs. Hi, Gabriella. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm about to cry. I love you guys so much, and it's taken me, I'm telling you, years to be able to go through the line and get in contact with you guys. I love you guys so much.
Oh, Gabriella, that's
Glad
so
you're
sweet.
on now,
Thank
especially for this
you.
segment.
Do you care to share with us?
Well, I lost my mom, my dad, and my sister within years of each other, and I turned to alcohol, and I wasn't a very good person. And one day I called my daughter the B word, and that broke her, and she was broken with the way that I was, and so I quit drinking, and I haven't drank in 2 years. And I got a box, and I put some cleaning products in it, and I went to go clean a house. And after that, now I have 6 houses that I clean. And I went to a church, and I got baptized in that church just a couple months ago. And now I am the custodian of the church and the daycare.
Oh, wow, look at you.
And so I know I work from 8 to 8, and I'm just like, I started my own little business. It's not a lot of money, but I'm busy. I'm distracted, and I'm grateful, and I'm happy now.
And you're doing something that gives you purpose. That's great, Gabriella.
Yes.
Can I ask
I'm so glad I got to share that.
May I ask you, how old were you, or how old was your daughter when you had that outburst?
My daughter was only 23 years old. This was just 2 years ago, and it was the worst feeling of my life when the next day she told me I said that, and I didn't even remember.
Oh no.
And then she said, you say that every time you drink. And I was like, my goodness, and I love her like you have no idea.
Yeah.
And it just broke my heart that such a good little girl who's now a mother of 2 and works so hard that I disrespected her in such a manner. It was just, I haven't, even the smell of alcohol now upsets me so much because of that.
I'm glad that you've changed.
Well, everybody has to have that moment, right? Don't they say that with addiction? You have a moment that just snaps you into a reality check, and that was your moment.
Did.
And look, like you said, your job of cleaning houses or being the custodian, like in your words, you said it's not a lot of money, but you look what it's doing for you. It has freed you and given you a purpose.
Yeah, that's priceless there.
That is priceless. Thank you so much, Gabriella.
It took a few years to get on the show, but
I'm glad you got on.
What a way to do it. Look at you now, Gabriella. Big hug from the Roula and Ryan Show. That's fantastic.
Have you ever heard this? I got to the best possible place the worst possible way.
Yeah. Some people would not prefer to go that way. But sometimes you don't know what the road's going to lead to. Alyssa is up next at 713-390-KRBE. We're doing Look at Me Now. It's a story of maybe somebody told you, well, this is how life's going to be for you. Don't expect too much. And then you showed them. Hi, Alyssa. Good morning.
Hi. How y'all doing?
We're great. Alyssa, share with us. I know. It's great stories so far. Share yours with us, Alyssa.
Yeah. So when I was born, I actually had infant seizures. So it took a long time for even the doctors to believe that I was having the seizures. My mom and my dad fought tooth and nail that there was just something that was wrong, and they just weren't taking no for an answer. And it was taking months and months just to get into an appointment, to get seen. And so they were just so worried that it was going to be longer standing issues. So they actually filmed me on just so that having a seizure so they could show the doctors, and because nobody was believing them, and so it took that of having to see it. So they filmed it, and they kept that video, and then before they got to their appointment, they had my sister, and my sister is older than me. She was 5 at the time, and so they called her over, and they were like, hey, like, you know how your baby sister, she shakes sometimes, like we're just going to pray over her really quick. And so they did that, and by the time they got to their appointment, they showed the video, and they were like, but she hasn't had any seizures since we filmed this video. And the doctor was so confused because she was the first doctor that was like, no, this is so clearly infant seizures, and these are not going to go away, and this is going to be her life for the rest of her life. And I actually have not had a seizure since that moment that they prayed over me. And she was so confused, and she was like, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And they were like, well, all we did was pray over her. Like we didn't give her anything. And she was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And since then, I graduated college in 3 years. I just finished my first year of law school.
Wow.
And I still never had a seizure. So
that's amazing.
It's very wild to me.
Wow.
There's nothing more frustrating than telling doctors that this is happening, and they're like,
And then it doesn't show up.
Well, we'll just see.
But they can only do what they see, you know. And
But when they
test,
see,
they can't do anything.
But by seeing the video,
and they know.
They can diagnose.
Like you take your
things.
car to a shop, like,
exactly.
it's making this noise, and it doesn't do it.
Yes.
Then you leave that shop.
It was definitely a lot for stress for my family, and it was kind of that they just kept trying to tell my mom she was like a nervous mom. And she was like, I don't think you understand. I already have a kid. I have a 5-year-old. I already went through this. Not my first rodeo. I can tell when something's different. So, yeah, it's definitely frustrating.
Man, that's really something else.
I mean, that's a miracle. I got to find out if that was like the Our Father or which one they did. Which prayer they used. Like, which one works? Which one's...
How?
Which was the one?
Was it the Hail Mary? Tell me.
Try them all.
If y'all want to go to the listener line, share with us more of your Look at Me Now stories. We don't have time for Sarah, but she had a nursing school professor tell her, you're never going to make it as a nurse. And now she's a full-time nurse.
And I'm sure that person will take credit for it. See, I inspired you.
I inspired you.
Whatever.
To try harder.
I hate that negativity crap.
Yeah. It's not a good teaching tool.
713-278-VENT. That's 8368. Real quick, let's say hi to Brenda. Hi, Brenda. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, KRB.
Brenda, your texture went up. Look at me now.
Yeah, look at her now.
Look at you now. You're the winner. First winner of the day, Brenda, of the Father's Day prize pack. Thanks for listening. And I hope there's a person in your life you're going to share this with, or you just say,
you have a father,
I keep it for me.
Your husband, or...
Yeah, my husband.
Oh, he's going to love the axe throwing,
Dave Chappelle,
and then $100 at Lazy Dog.
That's a good night.
Congratulations, Brenda. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
That's how that works. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. We'll get your information.
And you're in the running for $10,000.
$10,000. The next keyword. The next keyword is going to be at 120. Then the next one at 520. Coming up next in Celebrity Scoop, there was a story about Bryan Cranston at the end of the week last week that has bothered him tremendously. That everyone is telling him this story about him.
Yeah, because it probably affects his pocketbook.
Yeah. How would you like it if you were directly affected in the bank account because of a story? Well, we're going to explain next on the Roula and Ryan Show.
I'm pleased to introduce Roula and Ryan's Celebrity Scoop
on KRBE.
Oh, dear God, the things that we talk about during the songs.
I
Oh,
don't know what you're saying.
Is that for the raw feed?
Yeah.
Not even.
That is the show. Okay, last week at the end of the week, there was a story about Bryan Cranston saying that he is going to be taking a break from acting because he turned 70 in when he turns 70 in 2026. He's going to just not be around anymore to do anything professional. He wants to spend time with his wife and read books and blah, blah, blah. But he's annoyed that people are taking it as like, I'm quitting, don't even bring me any projects. Because you never know what you might be missing out on if the word is out there that you don't want to hear anything.
He just wants to slow down the pace.
He said, I'm not even sure what pausing means entirely, but at this moment, I think it means that by taking a year off, it would provide several things, like spending time with my wife and having a reset. But I do also want to prepare for whatever roles I may be afforded in a more authentic way. So he said, yes, the break includes social media, so I could actually read books. But, you know, he's not going to turn his nose up if he gets some great idea from somebody saying, yeah, let's do this.
He was traveling like during the Super Bowl, and before that he was even in Houston with his
Aaron Paul because they're promoting their liquor.
Mezcal,
yeah,
it's not tequila, right?
I think it was mezcal.
Yeah, mezcal is what he has, and he's leaving his wife there. So I mean, if he's so worried about it, just don't do the tequila or mezcal stuff.
Well,
but that's going to bring a lot more.
That
money.
takes him it's probably going to bring him a lot more money.
Promotion.
I mean, look at George Clooney, how wealthy he is. It's not because he had so many blockbuster movies. It's all the other things he's got his fingers in.
Casamigos.
And they all see that. They want to copy. And who started that? Entourage.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Turtle. He got Mark Cuban involved to get tequila. He kept pitching it to people for celebrities.
I didn't watch Entourage, so
it was a great show. It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, for that part.
And it's a good tequila.
And they all,
it tastes good.
You know, most celebrities will invest in some product that can make them more money. Like Jessica Simpson, her clothing line has made her more money than her music ever did or ever will. You know, this year was a big year that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, launched the XFL, put all that money into it.
He had a bad week.
And the story came out that he has lost $60 million in this endeavor, and he is forced to reduce the workforce for the XFL. He says, my goal was to get through the first season. This is not just an endeavor that's going to fill up a portfolio and one day we flip it, we're out. This is legacy. This is the long game. So you do have to take losses, I guess,
That's
before
a
you
big
take the
loss.
wins.
$60 million. There's a reason why nobody's been able to successfully take on the NFL.
But he, like you said, it's a long game. Plus his other show, Young Rock, got canceled.
Oh, did it really?
So he got just hit.
What was
left
that?
and
What
right.
platform was that on?
NBC.
NBC and Hulu, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, it was made for TV.
Oh, it was a
and then
TV
they
show.
played it
Oh,
on
there.
Hulu the
That's
next
why.
day.
I watched a little bit of it.
I'd probably love it because he tells stories about his dad, because his dad was a wrestler and all the in the '80s with Hulk Hogan and
What was his dad's name?
Oh my God, just Rocky. I don't remember. Mars
Balboa.
Whatever his last name is. What his real last name is.
I'll look it up.
Forgot.
Young Rock, does that mean they called him Pebble?
Ha ha ha.
Oh my God, dad jokes over
Father's
here.
Day's coming up.
How do you know you turned into your dad?
Rocky Johnson?
Special K just did a dad joke.
Oh my God.
Rocky Johnson.
Call your
Yeah, you're right.
dad.
It was Rocky Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay,
His
let's
career took off in the mid '60s and wrapped up in the '80s.
All right, so here's a story about Britney Spears as Kevin Federline defending her and really ticked off. Over the weekend, the Daily Mail, the UK paper, said that Britney Spears is, quote, using drugs and she's on meth. They said that Kevin Federline said this. I'm worried about her. She's using meth. And I've been praying somebody would make it public and that she would wake up because it's terrifying. Well, he wrote in his Instagram stories that is false and repulsive, and it saddens my family, which include our sons, Sean Preston and Jaden James, that the lies and attempts to exploit minors is clickbait and another repulsive example of where, unfortunately, certain journalism has sunk today. So if you read the story that Kevin Federline is worried about Britney Spears' meth addiction, it's all a bunch of
Well, you know who's spreading that rumor? Her family.
Garbage.
Her family's spreading
How can
that
someone
rumor.
not be held accountable for spreading
Right.
that?
That's slander and libel.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what Harry was on trial for, to defend, to try and, because he's going after the Mirror and all them over what the falsities about Meghan.
I saw that story on page 6 yesterday, and I told Booster, I was like, oh, back on the smack again. I guess not.
No, smack is heroin.
That's true.
Thanks for clarifying that, right?
Yeah.
Meth. I watch all the TV shows.
Back on the T again, the Tina.
Like that.
Come on, meth we all know from Breaking Bad. I would think that she's so wealthy, she would probably not, because meth is like a cheap drug.
Well, didn't we learn just now in the Look at Me Now segment that when you're addicted to drugs, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you're going to be bottom of the barrel anyway? Like, no matter what, that's how powerful the drug is?
A lot of people, like the biggest
you
epidemic.
Go to extreme negatives.
It's the painkillers.
Well, anyway, she's not on meth. Kevin Federline's not worried about her, and it's all false. Let's see how fast that lawsuit comes up. If you missed what happened on Roula and Ryan's Roses with the update today with Maritza about her and Scott and that girl Beth, you're going to hear it next on 104.1 KRBE. Oh, wait, we're doing the news.
Yeah.
Shoot.
What are you talking about?
Well, we're wrapping up. We're running so late. I thought just go to the news. Sorry.
New rumor spreading Roula's on meth.
No, I just was like, we're being, because she's wrapping us up, and I just thought we were running so behind.
No,
go ahead.
Let's be honest, it's a slow news day, right?
It's the Roula and Ryan Show on KRBE with what's going down in H.
There we go. It's brought to you by Duncan. Astros lost again, but prayers and well wishes are pouring in for relief pitcher Ryan Stanek. The Astros posted on Saturday that they placed him on a bereavement family medical emergency leave. No other details are available. He's expected to be away from the team for a period of time. To replace him on the roster, the Astros have called up left-handed pitcher Matt Gage from the team's Sugarland Space Cowboys.
He pitched yesterday. He did okay.
Did he?
They lost, so
he got shut out 5-0.
Got beat by Shane Bieber or something. Is it Bieber? Was that his name? Not Justin Bieber, but Shane Bieber. We might try and get him in July.
Justin?
In a trade. Yeah, we can't afford. We can't get Shane. We got Justin Bieber. Does those dance moves before he pitches?
Why not? No, now you're not allowed to do that anymore, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can't waste time.
Can't waste time on the mound. That's what's going down in H-Town.
All right, next, Roula and Ryan's Roses update.
There we go.
There we go.
On KRVE.